It's just past 7 in the morning and I'm setting off for my second day walking on this third stage. I went to bed really early last night, so that's why I'm able to get up so early. A lot of people set off at this time or even earlier, and I can't quite understand it because you can't really see a lot. But each to their own, I suppose. I had a fantastic night last night. Went to the mass in that church behind me, and it was one of the best masses I've ever been. The priest, he was really into it, but he also, had a chat with us all afterwards, and we sang songs together. It was really warm and inviting. And then I went to a restaurant just down the road and got chatting with some locals, and it was just a really nice experience. It was one of those great Camino experiences that just come along from time to time. But anyway, I'm going to head on. I'm going to Castrojeriz today, which is another 21 kilometers, so a bit like yesterday in terms of distance. And let's see what we find on the way. Let's go. Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, and I'm sat in my albergue at the end of my second full day of walking on this leg of the Camino. I'm in a town called Castrojeriz, which is notable for having a castle on a hill that I'm not going to visit because you need to walk up to it, and it's also very, very long and thin. So we walked for about 2 kilometers through the town to actually get to the albergue. It's been an absolutely incredible day today of walking. One of the shorter days, 20 kilometers just over. I'd like to do more, to be honest. I feel a lot fresher getting in today than I did yesterday. But the next albergue is like 10 kilometers on, so that's not happening. But what's been nice today is, apart from the first 3 or 4 kilometers, I've actually walked with people for the entire way. So I walked with a gentleman called Peter, who I met in the mass last night, actually, an English chap. And then there was a Croatian basketball player called Ivan. And Peter, his wife of 38 years, has just passed away, and he is carrying her ashes. And that's why he's doing Camino. And he is one of the wisest men I've ever met. Absolutely delight to speak to. Really, really warm, beautiful character. Ivan, a young man, 26 years old, a professional basketball player. He's in a bit of a crossroads in his life. His girlfriend, who he's very much in love with, just dumped him, and he's thinking about quitting the basketball and becoming a radiologist. He's done the qualification. He just needs to do the year's practice. So he's trying to sort himself out. Went to see a priest at Medjugorje, which is, I say he's Croatian, he's actually technically Bosnian. He comes from Herzegovina, which is a part of Bosnia where Croats live. They actually want to be in Croatia, if we're honest, don't regard themselves as Bosnians. And he went to Medjugorje and spoke to a priest, and the priest recommended Camino. So you get some really interesting, diverse characters on there. And then we walked through the Meseta, which was absolutely gorgeous, just beautiful. Not a lot going on. There was a village halfway with the friendliest, warmest, most welcoming church that you could hope to go in. But there was no cafe, so we had to have stuff out of a vending machine, which wasn't quite the same. And then I walked on to a set of ruins, the Arch of St. Anthony. It was the ruins of an old monastery dedicated to St. Anthony of the Desert. And I sat to rest there. I was absolutely knackered. They went on, they're going on further. And a Dutch girl called Caroline, she sat down with me, and then we walked the rest of the way together, and she's 22. And she's also at a bit of a crossroads in her life. She has been working in finance in London. She's taken a year out to go travelling, and she's going to go to Costa Rica next. Her mum's Costa Rican. Lovely lady, very intelligent. Reminded me of somebody I knew years ago. So yeah, so absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed today. This is what Camino is all about, and at least I've had one day of walking with people. I hope to have many more, possibly with some of the same people. But yeah, that's that. One interesting point is that I brought a few of my Maya books along with me that I brought last time, and I decided to give Peter and Ivan a copy each, which I hope they'll read and treasure. Certainly, Peter will. But I did wonder whether Ivana would be able to understand it in English, not being his first language. But he was blown away when he had it, because he said, "You know what? The girl who dumped me, her name was Maya. It's a sign." Well, only on the Camino, eh? So so there we are. I'm in Castrojeriz. I'm beginning to feel human again after a shower, and I'm going to go out, drink coffee, and relax. It's only 2 in the afternoon. It's fantastic. It's 2 in the afternoon. I've done my 20k, and just chill for the rest of the day. Keep travelling. So this is Castrojeriz. Absolutely beautiful, sleepy town. So I'm sitting outside the main church in Castrojeriz. Should be open. It's not. And this doorway interested me. Because I'd read in the course on Burgos that a lot of Moorish architects later, after the Reconquista, were employed building Christian buildings, and they incorporated Moorish elements into their buildings. And this really reminds me of like one of those mihrab niches in a mosque. The church isn't a converted mosque because it's later than that, but I wonder if it is, or it's just by chance, because I haven't seen that in a building before. That's not actually what I wanted to talk about now. So I've been having a little think in the quiet of the afternoon, and it's one of those things I don't know the answer to, because one of the sad things in the world today is that, as people become more secular, so many of these religious buildings are in effect dead. They're locked, like this is now, or when they are open, there's just a couple of people in, and it's like the life force has gone out of them. And of course that can be very hard if you're religious, because it's hard to get yourself worked up into a religious frenzy when nobody else is interested, and that's the kind of, in a way, the cross that I think Christians in the West have to bear. But then on the other hand, so the initial thought is that's very sad. But then conversely, you think, well, when these societies were religious, were they any better? And in fact, in Spain, a lot of the time, they were a hell of a lot worse. For some reason that I've never understood, I'd love to know the answer to this, like religious societies tend to produce conservative with a small c governments. And conservative with a small c governments are governments where there's this massive inequality between poor and rich. And the church, and you see it so much in Spain with all these golden altars, becomes a tool of the rich. I mean, that's why Marx said it's the opium of the people, because it was used by the rich to say to people like, forget this life, you'll get it in heaven. Well, actually, no, what about this life now? And yet the teaching of Jesus was so radical and so left-wing. Why aren't these followers? It really is a mystery to me. And of course, that's not just Christianity. I mean, the most religious places in the world today, and in fact, it seems to be the only religion that seems to be keeping its numbers outside of Africa, are the Muslim countries. And I've been to quite a few, like Jordan and in the Middle East, Egypt, places like that. And yet they're also so badly run, and the inequality is massive, and the religion is partly to blame for that. I mean, like, look at Saudi Arabia. Yes, they have charity, but it's like religion seems to be used to bolster bad regimes everywhere, regardless of the religion and regardless of the country. The Lama regime in Tibet wasn't really any good. Come on, And whilst there's a lot that can be criticised about socialist regimes, they do, on the whole, increase equality to a degree, or decrease inequality at least. So I don't know. I don't know the answer. It's something I've never understood. But anyway, here we are in Castrojeriz with a possibly Moorish bit of architecture.